Hi, Caleb with Brownells here, and in today's tech tip, we're going to be installing the Breek Arms RG2 Handguard. So, if you're not familiar with the Breek Arms Handguard, which, depending on when you're watching this, you may very well not be, because it's a relatively new product. I just found out about it. I actually haven't even taken one apart and installed it yet, so we're going to go through this together. But real quick, before we jump into the installation, I'm going to go over what this handguard is. If you already know, feel free to skip forward. Okay, so this handguard is a rugged yet lightweight and, I dare say, very affordable handguard. Alright, so when I saw the price of this thing on, Brownells got it, I saw the price of it, I was like, what are we doing? Did we get some, cheaply made foreign stuff? What's going on here? But I found out they were made in the United States by an American company, which is awesome, right? That's what we like to see in our AR-15 parts, or American rifle, right? So, that's good to see. That's awesome. So then I got super excited, and then I found out they were using a wedge lock to secure the handguard to the barrel nut, and I got even more excited. And if the price tag wasn't enough, let me just say, I'll say it, hopefully YouTube's okay with this, or I'll make up a price. So, these sell for under 100 bottles of hair lube, right? So they're pretty affordable. So in all seriousness, they're right around 90 bucks, depending on which length you get. All right, so I'm just gonna open it up and show you here. The one I have right here is the 13.7 inch, and this is literally all that comes with it. You get nothing else in the box. You get the handguard wrapped up, all the parts that come with it. I'm just gonna slide those around the corner there. So everything you need to install it comes installed on the handguard. So you have your wedge lock, your barrel nut, your mounting bolts, all that stuff is here. So you're gonna take it apart and then install it on your firearm. Like I said, this is the 13.7 inch, okay? This is made to be used with a 14.5 inch barrel if you're running a suppressor. So they're optimized for suppressor mount barrel lengths, if that makes sense. So for example, you have the 9.7 inch handguard, which is for 10.5 inch barrels. You have the 11.7, which is for 12.5 inch barrels, right? Then you have 13.7, which is for, you guessed it, 14.5 inch barrels. And then they make it in a 15 inch for 16 inch barrels. They also have a bunch of other smaller sizes too, 3 other ones, but I won't get into those because the ones I covered are probably the most common. I think you would agree with that. So let's go over the materials it's made of. Your standard, 60, 61 T6 hardcoat anodized aluminum, and then the anodizing on it is done really well. And honestly, so if I were to just pick this up at a show, if for example, if the first time I saw this was at SHOT Show or something, I would say, okay, this handguard's probably just under 200 bucks roughly, and I'd be off by at least 50%, because I mean this is the company doesn't even know we're making this installation video, so they this isn't a paid thing. This is a product we picked up. I thought it was cool. So I'm doing an installation video on it, and this is my, genuine reaction to the quality of this handguard. The quality to price ratio, especially in the current economy. I'm just going to stop geeking out over it, and we'll go ahead and install it. So mark this point as the start installation point. Alright, and let's jump right into it. So, alright, what we need to do first, since we pulled it out the box, is undo these mounting bolts here and remove that wedge lock system so we can get to that barrel nut, okay? So I'm just going to reach into my handy dandy Brownells toolbox here that I assembled. If you're not familiar with this, this is the new Brownells armor case. I put all the tools into this one custom, so you wouldn't buy it exactly like this. So let me grab my Fix-It Sticks Field Armor Kit. That's, if you're wondering which one this is, it's the Field Armor Kit. This is the one that has pretty much everything in it, and then I added a magnet tip screwdriver to it, because you gotta have a magnet tip screwdriver, right? Alright, and these are Torx bolts. I don't know what size. They are a T27. Alright, so we'll just, those are in there nice and loose, that's perfect. We'll just unscrew that. I'll drop that on the ground here. So we'll just unscrew one. Set that down. And unscrew the other. And like I said, this is the first time I've actually had this apart, so we're gonna take a look under the hood together here. Alright, there's one piece of that wedge lock. Get the other one out of here. Might have to push it from the other side. There it goes. Popped right out. And that wedge lock, it fits a taper to the barrel nut, which is why, and I'll just kind of show you here. So you have that taper on the bottom of one of the wedges, right? And that pushes against that barrel nut and taper locks to it, so you get a larger area of surface contact on the barrel nut. And the cool thing about that is that this wedge lock is different. It's a little bit different than other wedge locks on the market. There are other handguards using wedge lock, but not exactly like this, and vice versa. But what it does is it locks the handguard in really tight to your barrel nut, and it distributes that force evenly around the barrel nut to your handguard, which is why wedge lock is becoming a little bit more popular in the handguard world. Okay, so that's it for the disassembly. All we need to do now is start assembling our upper receiver. So I'm going to reach back into my toolbox here. Use your upper receiver vise block of choice. I'm going to be using the Device Lite. Pull those vise jaws out. Don't need them. Now I'm going to lock my upper receiver into the vise. Alright, nice and solid. I'm just going to grab a rag here. This is an upper receiver that I've used before, so there's a little bit of grease and stuff in there. I'm just going to wipe off some of that excess. And this barrel, I have not used this barrel before. So the barrel we're using is a Ballistic Advantage 14.5 inch. And if you've ever seen me install any other AR-15 barrels ever, you know what's coming next. I just take a little bit of Brownells Action Lube Plus. Just dip my finger in it there. And no, I do not use this stuff in my hair. Alright, we're gonna put a little bit on that barrel extension. Just kind of spread it around there. Push our barrel in. Then we're going to take just a little bit more. Put it on the threads. And another area you want to get it is on the front of this barrel extension shoulder, because that's where your torque's being applied. Alright. Okay, so this is our barrel nut. One back end of it here is knurled, and the other end here has flats on it for a wrench. We are just going to slide this on. And tighten this down by hand. Alright, nice. So, at this point we need to actually torque this thing down. And I have, like I said, haven't done one of these yet, and there's some flats on it there, so it looks like we're just going to need to use an adjustable wrench or like a crowfoot wrench or whatever. Alright, so we can actually just use a adjustable wrench for this. If you have like a crowfoot wrench that mounts to a torque wrench, 40 to 60 foot-pounds is all you need on this. If you've done enough barrel nuts, you know what like 40 to 60 pounds feels like. You're not going to get it exact, obviously, without a torque wrench, but you'll be able to get it within that range. And like most barrel nuts, pretty much every barrel nut on the market, you can torque somewhere between 35 to 80 foot-pounds, and it'll work just fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and tighten this one down here. Like I said, if you're using a torque wrench, just throw it to 40 foot-pounds, and you're good to go. That's all you need. And I'm going to tighten it down, and then I'm going to back off. And then tighten it back down again. And what that does is just helps distribute that lube. And because the threads on the receiver are aluminum, and the threads on the barrel nut are steel, we're just kind of mating them up a little bit better. Alright, and I bet my bottom dollar, if you were to throw a torque wrench on there, that is definitely between 40 to 60 foot-pounds. Like I said, if you've done this enough, you can do that. If not, use a torque wrench. So, alright, now I will move my coffee before I spill it. And I'm just going to go ahead and install my gas block. I'm not going to put too much emphasis on this for the video because we've done this a million times in other videos, and we have a specific gas block installation video. So if you want more details, go check that out, and that will take care of you as far as your gas block goes. But I'm just going to breeze through it here. Gas block alignment there. Alright, now we can take our handguard and just slide it on over. Alright, so now with your wedges, it's not going to matter which side you put them on. They don't have to come off the exact side that they did when you disassembled it. You just need to make sure that your angled portions up top here are facing your barrel nut, and then the stepped portions are facing the bottom of the handguard. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put one on this side. And I'll just place this one on the back side here. I know you can't see, but it's exactly the same. I'm going to try not to cover too much up with my fingers here. Alright, so now I'm going to take one of her bolts, and you don't need any Loctite or anything. Just take one of your bolts, slide it through the unthreaded portion on this side, right? Because this cut here, that's recessed for the head of this bolt, right? So we'll just slide it on through. And I'm going to tighten it down by hand, and it's going to screw into the wedge on the opposite side. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so these bolts now need to be torqued down. You're going to torque both of them to 40 inch-pounds. Alright, so barrel nut, 40 foot-pounds. Bolts, 40, or screws, 40 inch-pounds. Got it? So 40-40. Alright, and not that one. We'll use our torque attachment here. And I'll start on this side so you can see what I'm doing here. And just make sure your top rail's aligned. That's 40. Then I'll do the same thing on this side. Alright, there it goes. And that is all there is to it. Let me pull it out here so we can just kind of check it out. That looks pretty good. Okay, yeah, and you can see if you were to mount a muzzle device for a suppressor, this thing would be the perfect length for that. Alright, and it's a really solid handguard. This is, like I said, this is the first time I've installed this on anything. I didn't do a dry run of this video before. But yeah, that came out well. All your mounting points, the wedge lock itself is all steel. The only thing aluminum is the actual handguard. You got M-lock on the 3, the 9, and the 6 with full 1913 across the top. So, I'm not saying this is the best handguard on the market, but for the price, it is definitely the best in anything close to that price range. So, if I'm kind of like feeling motivated to almost do like a quality budget AR-15 build using Brownells stuff, and it would definitely be featuring this handguard. So if that's something you want to see and you're watching this on YouTube, let me know in the comments down below. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post those down below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this on the website, you need help, need a hand, just want to hear my voice, feel free to give us a call on the tech line. We'll be happy to help you out. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.